Cheers, guys. Epix 911. Welcome to the Elitist Geek VR news for Tuesday, December 20th, 2016. Let's jump right into VR, guys. Let's start with a game that Upload VR is calling so terrible, it may be good. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I hear a company say something like may be good, I'm going to be kind of skeptical and, probably pass on it. The game in question is called Roller Coaster Dreams. It's from a company called Bimbo Soft. And this was a game that the author didn't think would ever be released. Was surprised to find, in actuality, had been released. Apparently it breaks all kinds of VR rules. It seems to encourage nausea rather than try to limit it. It basically dares you to go on rides, almost as if it was some kind of sick and twisted test. So if that's your bag, check this out. Roller Coaster Dreams, PlayStation VR, via the PlayStation Store. Next up, Serious Sam VR First Encounter, which I mentioned a couple of days ago, would be released today, was released. I purchased it, got a pretty good deal on it, 30% off. I think it ended up costing me 35 Canadian. One of the 3 quick looks that I will be uploading is that game. Also, Oculus is having their winter sale. I went to check. Unfortunately, wouldn't you go figure, a lot of the games that I have already are the ones that are 50% off. So percentages seem to range from about 10% on the low end to 50% off. So if there's some Oculus Rift games you had your eye on, check out the winter sale. There's a chance it may be one of the titles up for sale. All right, story-wise, Giroptic have a $250 IO 360-degree camera specifically for Apple iPhones and Apple iPad devices. Now, they are the company behind the standalone 360 cam. Now they've launched the Giroptic IO 360 camera, again for iPhones, iPads, starting today, US $250. Comes with 2 counter-facing lenses and a camera that enables Apple devices to capture full 360-degree photo and video spheres. The camera currently supports 360-degree live streaming via YouTube, and support for 360 Facebook Live is planned, but currently not present. Specs include 2 195-degree lenses with an aperture of focal 1.8, onboard stereo microphone, and a rechargeable battery. Video captured at 1920 by 960, so just under the 1080p mark at 30 frames per second, so not ideal for VR viewing, though it is stitched in real time with no post-processing needed, according to the article. Photos are shot at a higher 3840 by 1920, which is 4K. And again, as I mentioned from the outset, only currently available for Apple devices, but kind of looks cool. It doesn't seem really obtrusive the way it rests on the device. Should be a picture up. Have a look. Next news story, Sensic VR headset specifically made for arcades and theme parks. Now, to me, this device comes across very much kind of like the difference between the business edition of Vive and the home consumer edition. A lot of that has to do with ease of repair, durability, etc. Likewise, Sensic is saying the same thing, and it should be no surprise. They are co-founders of the OSVR device, and here are some of the specs. So 2160 by 1200 at 90 hertz OLED display, which exactly the same as the OSVR. Offers independent focal adjustment and 100-degree field of view. Again, very similar. So what makes the headset uniquely suitable for the out-of-home sector? According to Sensic, a combination of durability and features like being easy to clean, modular, easy to repair. There's also a pair of fans to prevent fogging and an optional integrated leap module built into the headset for hand interaction without the need for controllers. So that'd be kind of cool. I've noticed that with the motion, some of those hand gestures can get pretty complicated. So really can't wait to start seeing stuff take advantage of that. And part of that is that Oculus Touch game, the spellcasting game. That with full-on actual gestures would just be amazing. Next news story, Industrial VR, the Google Earth of iconic engineering sites. That's the question that Upload VR asks. So this application, Industrial VR, very much like Google Earth. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, but it's basically specifically for feats of human engineering. Things like the Hoover Dam, Fukushima nuclear power plant, oil rigs, all of them available to inspect in minute detail, so you can zoom right in. And going forward, the team plans to offer aeronautics as well, transportation, and military topics. So not just engineering, that'd be pretty cool. Future sites will include things like the International Space Station, a location that's pretty popular for VR experiences, though this will be the first time we've seen it like this, which would be amazing. I would love to check out the ISS in VR. They are aiming for a release in early 2017. No price determined as of yet. And they do say that non-VR modes will be supported as well. Next news story, startup Dabkick demos cool phone to VR social features. Now, they are currently planning to support all VR platforms, but initially it's going to be the HTC Vive. And what the app does is it makes it easy to instantly share a selfie from a smartphone with an HTC Vive user, for example, all while chatting or talking live. Probably not going to do much to change anything in my life because I am not a huge selfie guy, but I can imagine for people for whom that is important, it could absolutely make a difference. Smartphone users will see the regular Dabkick app UI where the windows are overlaid on top of each other because it's a 2D surface, while VR users are going to get a much richer immersive experience due to the VR. Today, users can watch 2D media content like YouTube together, but Dabkick plans on supporting 360-degree photos and videos soon, allowing smartphone users to move around and enjoy 360-degree content along with friends in VR. And Dabkick goes on to say, when VR is used for media, it can deliver an immersive experience, but it can also be a solo and isolated experience. Even if your friends are right next to you, they cannot see what you see inside VR. But certain media types, like sports, are meant to be watched with friends. So we decided to bring Dabkick functionality inside virtual reality devices. We believe by making VR a social media watching experience, people will spend more time inside VR. I just say make some damn good games because I've said this before, stuff like Elite Dangerous, I've got absolutely no problem. I can play it for hours at a time. This supposed people can only handle VR for 10, 15 minutes. I think it has more to do with the fact that so much content is only 10 or 15 minutes. I think most of us can spend a lot longer than 10 to 15 minutes inside VR given the experience has extra length. And Krishnan, CEO, ends with the bi-directional nature of the app. He says, lets friends show and change content across devices. The key is encouraging users to spend more time inside VR with a lean-back experience similar to kicking back and watching television. So there you go. Now, this next and last news piece, it's one of those ones that doesn't quite sit good. Definitely schlock-worthy. Haven't had one of these for a while. This was the Game Store, GAME in the UK, that was charging for Sony PlayStation VR demos. In other words, you had to pay to play demos, not full games. And that was kind of where I left it. My opinion of that was, look, I got no problem charging people. Do it arcade style, absolutely. But make it for a full frickin' game, not for demos. Now, their excuse is they have people manning it full time. They need to pay these people. It's not a store person. I don't know what the reality of that statement is. I just know in the stores that I've seen around here, there seems to be no issue with having people try demos. Half the time, the thing doesn't even need to be manned. It just needs to be secured. But maybe it's different in the UK. I doubt it. But anyways, they have confirmed, the company, that they are going to feature the VR headsets in 7 Belong, and that's BELONG. It's a new store chain, sites across the UK, outlets at Hull, Trafford Centre, Wardour Centre, Portsmouth, Cribs, and Metro Centre. Each have HTC Vive and PlayStation VR units, while the one in Milton Keynes also has a PlayStation VR. That's what they just said. But anyways, as with the previous PlayStation VR setup, you pay £5, which is about $6.16 US, to play for 10 minutes, or £15, which is almost $18.50 US, to play for 30 minutes. If you then decide to purchase a headset, you'll have the cost of the session deducted from the price. Yeah, if I thought reading this a month later was going to change my mind, it absolutely hasn't. I still think that is such a stupid idea, but I'm not the guy running it. That's just an opinion. All right, guys, that's it for the news. Lots of gaming, which I've probably already uploaded before this because I didn't want it to be yet another news video where I talk about games uploading that I haven't uploaded yet. So there you go. Cheers as always. Definitely catch you on the VR flip side.